Good evening, everybody. I'm your host, Scott Cole. Joining me tonight is Kyzer Riddell. Jenna Chavez should be joining us a little bit later in the show. Welcome to our first February episode of Blizzard Warning, where we talk Avalanche hockey amongst fans. Kyzer, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. It's been a long day. I'm a little tired, but hey, I mean, never too tired to talk Avs hockey.
Always happy to talk Avs hockey, regardless of how tired we may be. If you are joining us from Facebook land, please allow StreamYard permissions to use your name. Otherwise, all we see is Facebook user, and we have no idea who we're talking to. So we'd like to chat with you guys and know who we're talking with. So Facebook users, please ensure you allow Facebook to permissions in order to use your name. If you're watching us on YouTube, welcome. Those permissions are already granted with the YouTube user agreement. So we don't have to worry about your names already.
With the YouTube user agreement.
Yeah, YouTube's like, we got it. And as always, Willow Seasonings and Blends is the official sponsor of the Colorado Sports Connection and everything we do over here. To earn yourself 15% off your online purchase at willowseasonings.com. Use the code CSC2024. Some delicious spices and seasonings over there for all your meat products like pork, steak, chicken, even eggs. Love it on everything. The Avalanche resumed play this past Monday after their NHL mandated week-long break before the All-Star game. And the standings look a little like that on the bottom on our long artica there. The Dallas Stars, who are currently playing, I believe, have a 2-1 lead against the Maple Leafs in Toronto at the first intermission break. Are in first place. They have a game. They had a game in hand as the Avs are off tonight, so we'll have the same games played after today's game. So go Leafs.
Go Toronto, and that's something that we don't really say very often.
Yeah. Colorado's sitting in second place with 68 points. Winnipeg 65. St. Louis 54, Nashville 54, Arizona 49, Minnesota 47, and the Chicago Blackhawks pulling up in last place in the Central Division with 30 points. They are not the same franchise they used to be. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think we've got 50.
I think like 58 games in.
51 games played.
51 games.
Yeah, so there's 31 games left in the regular season. As we get down to it, we're going to be talking a lot about what could happen over the next month of games ahead of the March 8th trade deadline. And you're going to hear us talk a lot more about that trade deadline, Kyzer. It's sneaking up on us.
It's coming pretty quick. I mean, what are we, a month away now?
March 8th, yeah. So we're about that 30-day mark. It is a leap year, so there's an extra day in February and all that jazz. But we're getting pretty close to it, and we're going to talk about some of the moves the Avs made in addition for evaluation purposes this month, and hopefully get Georgiev a little more rest. But let's talk a little bit of fun that happened last weekend with the NHL All-Star game. All-Star activity.
I enjoyed watching it. I don't know how I feel about the new system for the skills competition. Like, I kind of liked the whole, everyone going to see who's the best, but they need more goalie. They need a lot more goalie.
That needs to be done. Everything started last Thursday with the player draft. You had your team captains. McKinnon and Cale Makar were captains for the yellow squad, is what I'm going to call them, because we're not playing by divisions or anything else like that. You had, I think, a yellow, white, blue, and a red jersey. These jerseys were designed between Justin Bieber and a collaboration with the Toronto Maple Leafs and all this other stuff. They were what they were. They're, not my favorite NHL All-Star jerseys that I've seen, but
they were pretty weak. Not gonna lie,
they weren't terrible. I just think it was I don't think it did enough to really scream Toronto, with Toronto hosting the All-Star game, the All-Star weekend festivities. I think there could have been a little bit more done to celebrate everything that Toronto is for the NHL.
Agreed.
But Nathan MacKinnon was the captain of his team, with Cale Makar joining him as an assistant, and their celebrity captain was Tay McRae, which is a young Canadian pop. I don't know if she's a pop singer, but she's a singer, dancer, songwriter, musical artist. And they were joined by some pretty interesting names on the All-Star weekend. We got to see a little bit of Sidney Crosby and McKinnon playing on the same team. Alexander Georgiev was one of their goalies, along with Jeremy Swayman. You had Kirill Kaprizov, Sebastian Aho of the Carolina Hurricanes variety, because there are two Sebastian Ahos out there in the NHL universe. Yeah. Tom Wilson, Travis Konechny, Elias Lindholm, and Oliver Bjorkstrand. We got Matt saying, "Hey, come check us out." But yeah, it was quite the show, with Thursday just being that, hey, let's pick our teams.
Yeah, even like it was kind of funny though, because even McKinnon was like in a little interview after, he's like, I thought it was gonna be cringe, but it was pretty cringe. But it seemed like he had a good time.
Yeah, I think they got to spice that up a little bit more to make it a little more entertaining for fans in general. I mean, I couldn't imagine buying a ticket for that event and just being, oh, that's it. That's all we're doing. We're just doing this part of it. But the skills challenge, which I think is the part that a lot of us want to watch, I think was fairly entertaining. It was a revamped format for those of you guys that got to watch it. 12 skaters participated. The first 6 events, they each did 4 events out of the first 6, right?
Yeah, you were required to do 4 of the 6 events.
So you participate in 4 of the first 6 events. It's a point-based system. First place getting, I think, 5 points, and then
1 point less,
and then
for
4,
each.
3, 2, and 1. So top 5 finishers in each one, got to not much, Matt. We're just going back over the All-Star game that just happened, but it was an interesting format, as both Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar made it into the 6th round or 7th round of the event, which was the one-on-one format against the goalies. Nathan MacKinnon looked amazing in the one-timer challenge, getting his passes from Connor Bedard, and he was lighting it up. He was lighting up that 4-point score zone.
Oh, but that's his shot, though. Like, you put him in his office, and he's gonna be throwing top shelf cheese all day.
And he did an amazing job with it. I believe they had to go back and recalculate the points, because initially it looked like I can't remember who it was. I think it was Pasternak was set to win that, but instead of it being a 4-point shot, yeah, it bounced off of the beam with the.
Well, no, that wasn't what it was. They didn't count the final shot for the simple fact that he didn't get it off in time.
Okay.
It was after the timer had run out.
Okay.
So then after they went through and did the re-review, then it was like, hey, cool, MacKinnon wins.
Yeah. So MacKinnon, that was the one event that MacKinnon shined in. MacKinnon had a pretty rough time of it overall with the events that he participated in. He did not participate in the fastest skater, which I thought he would have, considering his 21. He leads the league in speed burst over 20 plus miles an hour in the league by quite a margin. So he's got the speed.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a I don't want to hurt myself and risk injury type deal.
I agree. I mean, it kind of seemed like a lot of the players weren't fully into it like they had been in the past. It was kind of a weird atmosphere and vibe from all the players this year for the All-Star.
From what I saw of it, it looked a little bit weird, and we'll dive into that more as we get through this. But Cale Makar won hardest shot challenge. I think 102.56 miles an hour, beat out who finished second in that one? I forgot. JT Miller finished second in that one, I believe, with 102 3-4 or something like that on his hardest shot. So it was super impressive. What's more impressive is that was on Kale's first attempt.
Yeah, his second attempt, he kind of whiffed on it.
Yeah, so he finished first in that, finished second overall in the skills challenge behind Connor McDavid. But I think the big news for the Avalanche over the NHL All-Star Weekend was the performance of Alexander Georgiev, not only during the skills challenge portion of it, but during the All-Star game itself portion of it, because he balled out this
he was stellar.
Weekend.
Like, he was a brick wall. Like, he was good. He looked real solid. His angles were on point. Like, as we've talked in the past, that's the one thing we've been needing to see out of him. And he's finally starting to kind of show that consistency that we know he has.
Not only is he showing that consistency, he's getting that stick involved in the game, man. He had two
checks on McDavid
on Connor McDavid during the one-on-one challenge, and like you saw it in real time because like Connor McDavid skates in for that first shot in the one-on-one, and he just smoked Georgiev.
Yep.
And Georgiev's like, all right, this is how it's gonna go. Fine, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. And the very McDavid goes to skate in, and it looks like he's trying to get in close on Georgiev because that's how he scores his goals. And Georgiev just slides his stick out a little bit and poke checks it. And McDavid all of a sudden has to adjust on the fly, and he's like, oh man, he's not playing around. He's really gonna give it his all here. I gotta do something. And he only managed one other point. McDavid didn't get any of his 2-point shots from the 2-point pucks on the blue line past Georgiev. So Georgiev needed 8 saves to tie, 9 saves to win win that challenge for the goalies, and he got $100,000 out of it. I'm super impressed. But two things. One, we need to see more goalie action at the All-Star Challenge.
I wanted to bring back that event they had 4 or 5 years ago to where the full ice shot to the little hole from the goalies.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun to see, and they need to bring goalie racing into it. I think the goalie race would be highly entertaining.
Bro, I love a good obstacle course race for goalies and stuff like that. I think that's just the fun part of it. A little bit of challenge, a little stick handling comp with the goalies with those big ass goalie sticks. That makes it so exciting. And I think the fans love that kind of stuff too. But I'm disappointed for not just Alexander Georgiev, but all 6 of the goalies that were present for the All-Star game because or 8. I think there was 8 of them. Sorry, I got that backwards. All 8 of them, because the All-Star skills challenge portion of it, you didn't see them at all until like 30 minutes before, 30 minutes before the one-on-one. You saw some behind the scenes with them, doing their thing. Swayman doing his patented hug thing with other, trying to offer to hug other goalies, and some goalies are like, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. I'm just gonna keep walking by. And some others knowing that that's what he does, so they wanted to, they did it with him and whatnot.
Well, like there's one other format that needed to be changed that I think just didn't make any sense to me was for the one-on-one. The players choosing what goalie. They need to just put all the goalie names in a hat. You draw a goalie, and then that's who you go against.
Yeah, it honestly. So the one thing we do know about this All-Star Skills Challenge is Connor McDavid.
He was highly cultivated by McDavid.
Yeah, he had a big he helped redesign it, and then he ends up winning it.
Seems a little suspect, don't you think?
A little suspect, and he was going into the one-on-one challenge. It looked like he was going to be the clear winner, even then, based on the points total. But I don't think anybody accounted for Georgiev putting up the performance he was. And it looked like from the very beginning of that one-on-one challenge, they were trying to set it up that way so that Connor McDavid had what other players thought was probably one of the weakest goalies there.
Yeah.
Cam Talbot also made the All-Star, the All-Star rosters, but I think he was taken super early by Elias Lindholm or somebody.
Yeah, Lindholm, I think, took him.
So it comes down to Cale Makar. Cale Makar didn't perform all that well. He went up against Connor Hellebuck because he couldn't choose his own teammate in that event. And I'm like, if the goalies are incentivized to do well, let's give the goalies a chance to do whatever. But yeah, I wrote an article, and Kyzer's talked about a lot of the points I talked about. Was we want to see the Clayton says hello. Clayton, how's it going, my man?
Hey, how's it going, Clayton?
Thanks for joining
How
us.
you doing tonight?
This is a diehard Avs and Denver Bronco for life. So thanks for tuning in, man. Enjoy having you. If you got any questions, comments, anything we're talking about, anything you want us to talk about, feel free to comment. Let us know as we go through all this. But yeah, like you said, I want to see the goalie, like the long shot by the goalies from their own end, some different point zones or something like that for that on a timer. That'd be kind of cool to see. The obstacle course race, and I don't know, something else like a stick handling competition or something like that. But Grant puts it perfectly. There was some Nikita Kucherov was getting booed hard for his.
Well, it was more or less Kucherov was Drunkarov.
Yeah, Drunkarov. And the All-Star games like that for a lot of these players. It's a chance in the middle of the season to get together with some other All-Stars from across the league, go out to dinner, have a good time, and just.
I mean, I don't crucify Kucherov for it. I mean, it's a weekend to just kind of relax and have fun with your fellow friends in the NHL that are also All-Stars. Like, can you really hate on him for it?
I mean, knowing what we know about the event and who helped set it up and everything else, I think he knew, like, before the skills challenge even started, that Connor McDavid was going to win this, and he's like, "I'm just out here to look pretty and just do my thing." Blah blah blah.
Have fun, yeah,
and
exactly.
He just wanted to have fun with it. So I think that's what happened with that right there. And I mean, can you blame him? It is, yeah. And Graham's right. It's like someone who wanted to participate could have taken a spot and everything, but I think this was the one representative for the Tampa Bay Lightning this year. So you're going to put somebody up there who's got 83 points and is an MVP, an MVP candidate out there somehow, some way. And I think because he's in an award race right there, that's why they wanted him to do the skills challenge. They being Gary Bettman in the NHL, wanting him to participate in the event because the light's being shined on him right now.
They want the top 2 NHL scorers to be part of an NHL All-Star skills competition. You kind of have to have that. If you don't, then it kind of gets rid of the whole aspect of the All-Stars. But the problem I have with the All-Star game weekend and festivities and stuff now is there's not really much incentive for these players to really care too much about it.
Yeah. It's a massive overhaul. Like, the All-Star game is mostly for the fans, and they try to cater it that way. But it's hard to do that if you're not getting much passion or input from the players. The players look at this week and they're like, "Oh my God, I can finally go sit at the spa, or I can go sit in the massage. I can go sit in the PT's office, room for the next 3 days and get my body taken care of and everything. I don't have to worry about a whole lot, except for those people who are the All-Star representatives for your team." I know I saw early, because of Cale Makar's injuries, I saw fans pushing for people not to vote for Cale Makar, so that he could get the rest. So it's an interesting thought right there. But speaking of thoughts, I want to get your thoughts on what Zach Parise has brought to the team after these first two games on the road.
I liked his presence on the ice, honestly. Like, since he's with him joining the club, the first 2 games, he's actually looked pretty stellar. He's making good D plays. He's not turning over the puck. Like, his vision on the ice brings a lot of, a lot to the club, because he can make those good quality offensive plays, as well as fall back and play that defensive game that we all know he can.
Oof. Yeah. Last bit on the All-Star game. All-Star
Oof.
game drew in just under 1.4 million viewers, which is
That's
not
low.
great. I mean, you also had the Pro Bowl activities going on in Vegas over this past weekend as well. So there's some and with Super Bowl round, coming into form this upcoming week, I think there's a lot of other stuff going on that pulled some viewers as well. But and Clayton, haven't forgotten about your question that you asked us. We'll get to that here shortly.
We're gonna get to that.
We're working our way through everything, but we're eventually gonna get there. Yeah, I'm with you on Zach Parise. Initially, when I heard the signing that happened, I was not a huge fan because of his age and like, can he skate? Can he keep up? What we've seen so far is yes, he can kind of skate with the group. He's on the third line right now. Yeah, Pro Bowl brought in 5.79 million views. So huge difference there in numbers.
But yeah, but what you're saying though is I agree with we're agreed. I thought the signing was amazing when they first announced it because we need a little bit more of that veteran presence in the lower lines. So it kind of helps to be able to, give that presence and possibly start with lower line production more than we already have been. It kind of opens up where we have more full lines again.
It's definitely an interesting signing. Zach Parise wearing the number 9, famously worn by Matt Duchene. Matt Duchene, don't bitch at us. We're not trying to pull the Carmelo Anthony with you. The number's just available. Chill. Parise is skating with Ryan Johansson and Arturi Lehkonen on the third line right now because the Avs promoted the entire line of the Roaring 20s to the second line in order to kind of solidify that second line with the absence of Valeri Nichushkin, who was the other winger with Arturi Lehkonen and Ryan Johansson. I think Lehkonen is probably the person that's going to mix and match with the Ross Colton line here and there, as we did see. I think I looked at the numbers yesterday. It looked like Colton and I want to say Logan O'Connor played like 20 minutes of ice time, and I think Miles Wood had significant, I think like 15 to 16 minutes of time on ice these last couple of games. So I think Lehkonen's getting pushed up there a little bit to skate with them a little bit more.
Yeah, O'Connor, he's averaging, what's his average? I just saw it. He's averaging 15 minutes a game for time on ice.
Yeah. So it's definitely interesting.
A little extra time, yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens if Nichushkin comes back, how they redevelop those lines or anything else like that. But I think they're just trying to find a solid line to put up there and eat some of those second line minutes. We've had the issue with the second line center right now, and I think this is what I asked for. I think back in early December was I liked the way Ross Colton plays, that edge he has to it and whatnot. I wanted to see him get some second line center minutes. So they just promoted the entire line. O'Connor and Miles Wood are playing really well, or as well as could be. Miles Wood could be playing a little bit better, but he's in his first year of a 6-year contract with the Avs. So we're going to see some growth and development with Miles Wood as an Avalanche player for sure. Another change the Avs made in addition to that was in net. Ivan Prosvetov was put on waivers. He did clear waivers and was assigned to the Eagles on Friday last week, which was the All-Star Skills Challenge. Skills Challenge ended. I think this news broke like an hour and a half after the NHL All-Star Skills Challenge event. And then it wasn't official until Sunday afternoon, but they did call up Eustace Annunen to back up Alexander Georgiev. Do you feel, Kyzer, that the Avs have done enough to address their current goaltending issues, or are they going to continue to look for eventual backup for when they do reach the playoffs?
I mean, personally, I think they're still looking. I think we're still going to be shopping around. I mean, like we talked about earlier, the trade deadline's coming up on March 8th. We're shopping both. Like we're going through both of them to kind of see which one's going to be the stellar backup for now until we do address this issue of backup. But I mean, I don't know how I feel about a Noonan over Prosvetov because I actually liked a lot of what Prosvetov was doing. I think he just got out of a groove and he had a couple bad games.
It's possible we see Prosvetov back up with the NHL at some point. Yeah, and like Graham said,
yeah, you're right. Yeah,
didn't go on this morning on his radio appearance. He made it clear that the Avs need to give Georgiev a little more rest and everything. To
yeah, roster needs that need to be met that are going to be huge coming for the trade deadline.
Yeah, but I think the Avalanche absolutely need to see what they have in Justus Annunen. I think the one thing, yes, we lost 5-3 last night. There was some of it was on.
I'd only put 2 of those goals on Justus. The other 3 were actually just quality goals that he couldn't do anything about. Like just they broke down our defense and he was just couldn't be there.
Yeah. Pucks on net, bounces went New Jersey's way. It worked out. But Justus is 23 years old, people. He's played most of his career in Finland from the age of 13, 14 years old in junior leagues and everything. He played in Finland's top league, Liga, the 2019-2020 season before his draft, was ranked as the 4th best international goalie available going into that draft class. And that's why the Avs took him at 64th overall that year, which is an early 3rd round draft pick. So the Avs had some faith in this kid coming in. He's set to be a restricted free agent at the end of this season. So the Avs absolutely have to see what they have in him. Give him some playing time at the NHL level. Not just for their sake, but they have to look at it as a potential for, is Annunen going to be the backup this year? Is he going to earn another contract with us? Or do we simply want to give him the opportunity to play up here and show what he's got in case there's another young rebuilding team out there that sees Annunen as a development project that they want in exchange for selling us a second line center or their backup goaltender.
Well, like I don't see any point in grilling him right now. That was like last night was only his 2nd NHL game this season. So
his second game this season, his I believe 6th game overall. It was only his 5th official start in the NHL. So I'm like, he's got a lot of growing to do, and he hasn't had consistent playing time at the NHL level. With the Eagles, he's been the number 1 goaltender at times. He's fought for his position to be the number 1, and he's still balancing time with Trent Miner and some of the other goaltenders that have come through the system down there. So it's difficult for a young goaltender like him to get quality and consistent time. So I really think Annunen deserves the opportunity to try to win the backup role at least, and that's what it is. The Avs have to address the backup role as best they can because we have very little cap space. What are you supposed to do when you have literally a big fat 0 in available cap space? There's not much you can do. And like I said, that comes to the other issues that the Avs have to address, and that's what are they going to do at the trade deadline? The Avs need to address blank and blank for playoff success, Kyzer.
We need to figure out our backup goaltender issue. And honestly, I think we need another center.
And I think that's something we've both been harping on for a while, but I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. Yes, the Avs, I agree with you on that first part. The Avs need to address their backup goaltender issue. And it goes further than just the playoff success this year. This dives into what could be the next 2-3 seasons for the Avs. This could go into what could be the next 5 years for the Avs as they have to address salary cap issues as well. The Avs need to address the backup goaltender issue. Pablo Francouz, probably going to be done. I found information on it. I found a couple of sources that saying he had an adductor surgery this past offseason, which, if many of you don't know, the adductor muscles, there's a group of 5 muscles in your inner thigh that are your adductor muscles group that works towards being able to squeeze the pads together, operate those growing muscles and pull everything in. And if you overstretch them, you can tear them pretty easily. So they're saying this is what happened was he either had a release surgery done to correct an issue or he had a repair done, which is what I think is what happened with an adductor surgery. And it's not an easy recovery. That's a
strenuous, long rehab process.
It is at least an 8-month recovery process, just at minimum, if not longer, depending on how your PT goes and everything else. But it's definitely going to be interesting, and Graham's right. Add to the prospect pool as well with this trade deadline stuff. But the Avs need to address their backup issue, and besides just the second line center talk, drop salary. They need to find a way to drop some salary.
We need to create cap space. We need cap space.
Yes, they absolutely need to drop some salary and create some cap space because something's got to change. You got to have some amount of wiggle room at this point in the season to make that addition without having to give up a ton of prospects and stuff like that. And I kind of addressed the conversation around a second line center or an available center moving forward. And the Avs are in a spot. Like, are we looking for just a rental player? Are we looking for a long-term solution? What is that solution going to look like? And my answer is a rental, because you have a second line center waiting in the wings who will probably come up and join the Avs in the offseason for training camp and everything. And the only reason he wasn't in training camp this year is because he had a shoulder surgery, and his name is Callum Ritchie.
Yep.
This kid has exploded in the OHL this season, and he's amazing talent. He's going to be your second line center. This kid could eventually be one of those younger, the next generation of Av greats, like Makar, Landeskog, and them are, and McKinnon was when they came through. Callum Ritchie could be that next transitional piece, and if we get him in early, you could have 2 quality top lines again. This is the Nazem Kadri replacement with Callum Ritchie. So,
well, I mean, also, like, we're talking about like what's needed for success. Like, also, proper call-ups would be huge for playoff success upcoming. Like, bringing up Malinsky was huge. Having Malinsky back up on the blue line is absolutely incredible. The kid shows so much talent. He's got great vision. He's got great defensive fucking skill. And also, the other one I'd like to see called up, as me and you discussed not long ago, is Tufte. I would like to see Tufte come back up.
Yeah, I agree. Riley Tufte has been was pretty fun to watch back in November when he got the call up during some early season injuries for the Colorado Avalanche. I think one thing for sure was they truly wanted to see what he was able to do and give him that opportunity. Tufte right now has 37 games played with the Colorado Eagles. Was an AHL All-Star and had one of the hardest shots in the AHL at their All-Star game. 100, I think 100.5 was his, or 100.2 was his slap shot. So I think he won the hardest shot competition in California this past weekend. 13 goals, 14 assists. So he's definitely somebody to watch out for. I think some of the other people you might see are Callahan Burke. Ben Myers is still down in the minors.
Ben Myers is still down there.
You have some options there. You have Oscar Olausen, who's somebody you drafted this past season, and he saw some time with the fourth line earlier this year. So it's totally possible that we see some of these younger talents come up after the trade deadline or something like that. It all depends on what the Avs do at the trade deadline. But I honestly, my complete honest opinion is I don't see the Avs being able to make a huge splash at the trade deadline unless they are willing to move salary cap off this roster, which I know a lot of fans don't want to hear it. They don't want to see some of their favorite players leave, but there are some spots on this roster where you've got to make a move. Ryan Johansson has not been the player that the Avs thought they were going to get from Nashville. He's
Jack Johnson.
Jack Johnson didn't skate last night because Sam Malinsky took his spot in the lineup. Your lineup was Makar and Taves, Byram and Malinsky, and they moved Sam Girard down to skate with Josh Manson. So they're looking at options. Johnson's, a vet minimum type deal. Josh Manson, I think, is making like $3 to $4 million a year right now as your third pairing. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. The Avs have some issues to address, and a lot of it evolves around where they can get some space with dropping salary. So I'm interested to see that. But
speaking of addressing goaltending, though, who do you think they target for the deadline? Who do you think, backup goaltender wise, do you think we target?
Yeah. It's hard to see where they're going to go with a potential forward group and trying to target something right there. Marc-Andre Fleury's been a topic of discussion, but he has a no movement clause that he has to waive in order to be traded.
He did say he would waive that.
He would waive it for certain teams, and I think the Avalanche are one of those teams he is willing to waive it for. So that bodes well for us. Again, you got to move some salary to make up some room for it, and you're going to have to give away. You're going to have to make up a little bit of salary room. You're going to have to give up either a draft pick or a prospect of some sort that's on an expiring contract because Marc-Andre Fleury's due, I think, he signed a 1 year or he's on a deal for like $3.8 million this year. So you're going to have to either have to give up something so Minnesota eats some of that money, or you have to make room for that money. So one way or the other, you gotta find the remaining room for that contract the rest of the season. Somebody I really wanted the Avs to target, but they're not going to be able to because of where the Rangers are in the standings, is Jonathan Quick.
Yep. I was just going to bring him up too. That's who I thought we would target, but now with the Rangers playing super well and Quick and Shesterkin both just kind of being lights out hockey, they're not getting rid of. They're not going to shop Quick.
I mean, let's talk about the Rangers right now. They started Jonathan Quick, who's their backup goaltender, against the Colorado Avalanche, which is a team that is going to make the playoffs, or should make the playoffs if we continue to play well. They started their backup against us. They have two goaltenders. They have the ability to do that, to start their backup against amazing teams. Amazing.
If we can get our team, if the Avs can get to that point, we would be unstoppable.
Oh yeah, the Avs have fallen as far as favorites to win the Stanley Cup right now. That's Vancouver to win right now. They're just having an amazing.
I don't know where the hell they came from. They're just unreal right now. I never thought I'd say that, but how the hell is Vancouver the best team in the league? It's weird.
It's impressive, and Elias Lindholm has slid right into that group and looks amazing. Nothing you can say.
I'm kind of glad we didn't grab him because that was a lot of asking price.
That was they overpaid for Elias Lindholm, and I firmly believe. And has Elias even signed a new contract with the Canucks yet?
Not yet, no.
Okay, so nothing yet there.
Not that I know of.
Yeah. So, but I think we're both in agreement. Malinsky should be a permanent move. He should stay with the
Yeah.
team. He should get the opportunity to skate out the rest of the season with them. I don't think there's any other players at the AAHL level that would be more of a permanent move unless the Avs made some trades and had to call somebody up. But I would like to see if there's one other person. Riley Tufte, I think, deserves an opportunity to play a little bit more at the NHL level for sure. So
we're kind of in a bind when it comes to Ben Myers for the simple fact that if we call him up and then he plays 2 games and we go to move him back down, he doesn't have his
he'd have to clear waivers.
Waivers, and there's no way he would clear waivers.
So let's get back to Clayton's question for us.
Oh yeah,
was, do you guys think the Avs make a long playoff push? I sure do, all the way, baby. I think the Avs have the ability to make a playoff push for sure. I think we'll get far. We should get farther than the first round.
I don't see a disappointing first round exit, but unless we fix the goaltending issues, I don't know how far I could say we would go, because that's the big key in playoff hockey is quality goaltending. If you can't get a hot goaltender, you're not going very far.
I think Georgiev has the ability to do well in the playoffs. It's a matter of, one, having a backup goaltender that could potentially step in on nights when he just doesn't have it, and you just, it goes the way it goes. But the other part of it is the playoff format favors rest for goaltenders and for players in general with some travel time and whatnot, because you're not playing back-to-back nights. You're never going to play a back-to-back night in the NHL when it comes to the playoffs, because Gary Bettman and Bill Daly want a quality, well-put-together product for all teams involved in the NHL playoffs. So there's never
They want every team to put out their best in the playoffs, and you can't do that doing back-to-backs in the playoffs.
No. So how long their playoff push depends on what happens here around the trade deadline. Really, truly does. Avs make the playoffs? Yes. How deep of a run they make, to be seen.
All depends if we address the issues.
It's been an awkward year, and most of it's because the Avs have no additional money. The makeup of this team, yes, there are plenty of veteran names and talent, former talents and whatnot on this roster, but there are a lot of them are on these veteran minimum contracts and everything. Like,
Graham's right.
Right here, yeah, you need Choo-Choo back.
Nichushkin needs to come back. If we get Nichushkin back, that's going to solve a lot of our forward issues.
I agree. If you can get Valeri Nichushkin back, I feel 100% better about the Avs position going into the playoffs. He's got that grit. He's got that front of net presence. That's going to be amazing. I think it does a lot to boost the confidence of the Avs as a team in general too.
And it just increases our scoring depth that much more. Because
For sure.
that turns 2 scoring lines into 3 or 4 scoring lines now that we've added Parise.
You get Chushkin back. You got him and Arturi Lehkonen with whatever center they want to throw between them on that second line. You've got O'Connor centering that third line, and they can get back to more of their gritty, playing against third and fourth line units, occasionally seeing a second line unit. And I think that's the issue we're seeing right now is O'Connor and the Roaring 20 lines are going up against better lines than what they're used to seeing. So their scoring prowess has kind of dipped a little bit. And these are professional athletes, so yeah, they're going to adjust, but it's going to take them a little bit of time. I don't see it being an immediate success. It's going to be a little different. But yeah, I think the Avs have the ability to make a playoff push. How deep they go depends on the makeup of their team, because keep in mind, and I don't want to be this person, but I know a lot of fans want to hear it, Gabriel Landeskog might be back come playoff time. I don't know how true that's
going to be a mistake.
I don't know how true that's going to be. I personally it's gonna be difficult to fit Landeskog back into this lineup, having not skated with the team and been at actual games during the regular season. Yes, great captain, great guy, nothing but respect for him, but that chemistry is going to get thrown off just a little bit. Because
all we need him around right now for is honestly just locker room presence and trying to just keep the guys' heads up. He doesn't have to be on the ice to be a great captain.
You need, I need that fire from the Swede, when things are going bad in the playoffs. Go in, break a wooden stool or something, because Coach Bednar is going to be that calm demeanor type person. He's like, pull your heads out of your asses, guys. Let's go. I need Landeskog to go in there and be that passionate, fiery, whatever type guy.
You need Landy to be our Shorzy.
Yeah. Get off the pole, you bunch of freaks. Definitely, for sure. Avs are currently on their longest road trip of the season. They that point they got in New York was huge. Got too greedy in overtime for my taste. Trying to hit that home run pass and get the breakaway chance. If you played a more solid, a more measured approach in overtime when you got control of the puck and wore out the New York Rangers and whatnot, I think it would have probably been a different outcome. We may have gotten to a shootout. Who knows?
Well, we just got too fancy. That's one of our big problems early in games is we just try to be too fancy, make the perfect pass instead of just, as I've always said it, pucks on net.
That's exactly what Laferriere did at the end, and then he just threw it at the net.
Yeah, it just sometimes that's just all you got to do. Pucks on net make a huge difference. Instead of just trying to make that perfect tic-tac-toe play, it doesn't have to always be pretty.
Yeah, amazing, but same thing. That's Georgiev's first appearance since the All-Star break. Amazing performance.
Yes.
The goal that went in regulation was just a seeing eye shot that Georgiev had no chance on. But played his brains out in that one. So, very impressive in net from Alexander Georgiev. That was the big highlight for me. And McKinnon's goal was just
McKinnon's goal.
You got to move faster than that.
You got to be quicker than that. Oh, you almost got it.
You almost got it. Dude, his stick handling ability on point in at that speed was just super impressive.
Well, what impresses me the most with McKinnon right now is we just passed the halfway point, and he's already at 86 points on the season.
Yeah.
He's already at 86 points on the season, and we barely just got over the halfway mark.
He's
not going to stop.
Yeah. Last week, Kyzer, you weren't here, but his ESPN projected point total for the season was 141 points.
I could see it. I could actually see him hitting that.
If he hits that, it would be the most points in the rate by an Avalanche player in franchise, or by a Colorado player in franchise history, beating out Peter Stastny, who had 139 points during the 81-82 season with the Quebec Nordiques.
So nice. I didn't know that.
It could be a career defining moment for one Nathan McKinnon. So yeah, I would love to see him do it. Absolutely. He is currently the front runner MVP for the NHL, and some NHL executives have come out and said, yeah, it looks.
He definitely deserves the heart. He's come in second twice, third once, and fifth once.
Damn you, Conrad.
Heart voting.
McDavid and his freaking magical whateverness. I'm over it. So over it. One more thing to address. This road trip is not an easy one for the Colorado Avs. They are off tonight. They lost in New Jersey last night, 5-3. A bit of an interesting game, back and forth. That third period, the Avs outshot the Devils by quite a bit. but the Devils got the better of it in scoring two goals in regulation in the third period with the minimum number of shots that they actually faced. The Avs are in Carolina tomorrow, taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. What was it? What was the shot total last night for the third? Shots on goal in the third: Colorado 17, New Jersey 4. That's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about that one. Yeah. We just looked sloppy and uncoordinated. Like it was ugly. It was hard to watch, to be completely honest.
Yeah. But the Avs do have 4 games left in this road trip before they return home to take on the Arizona Coyotes in a 4 p.m. game on February 18th. They're in Carolina against the Carolina Hurricanes tomorrow night. Saturday, they're in Florida taking on the Panthers. Then they head up to Washington, D.C. to take on the Capitals next Tuesday at 5 p.m., followed by a 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time game against the Tampa Bay Lightning next Thursday. So all those people who are complaining about these 8 p.m. and late starts for the Avalanche beginning of the season, surprise.
Well, it's only because we're only getting these early games because we're on the East Coast swing right now.
Yeah. Huge East
That's
Coast.
The only reason we're getting these earlier games because we're on the East Coast road swing.
And none of them are national. None of them are national broadcast games. These are all.
They're all altitude.
They're all altitude, so it's that's the other part of it.
Whatever their broadcast is.
God forbid one of those games was a nationally broadcasted game on like NHL Network or ESPN or something, and they were on the back end of a doubleheader. Could you imagine an 8:00 game on the East Coast?
Yeah, that would be brutal.
Or a 7 p.m., 7 p.m. start time, whatever. That would just be terrible. That's why they don't do it.
I'm already going bleh because we're on a 6-game road streak that we should not be on. We should not have a 6 games straight on the road.
I don't think anybody should be like. I think the max in the NHL should be like a 4-game road trip, but that's
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with that one.
I think that should be like across the NHL. I'm not saying, I'm not being a home team guy right now. I'm just saying, and the reason I don't know why they did it this way. I don't know what the NHL does. I couldn't imagine being the guy in charge of scheduling for the NHL or the department in charge of scheduling for the NHL having to call up all these arenas and be like, hey, what's going on in your arena this day? Oh, you got that going on. Monster trucks are in town that week. Damn. Looks like we got to go somewhere else.
You're not wrong, Graham. The broadcast crew was annoying. It was terrible.
It's
the ESPN broadcasters are just god awful.
I get the frustration with a lot of these broadcasters and stuff like that, but at the same time, I sit there and I look at it with just doing this live show, and I'm just like, stuff's not easy, man.
It's not easy, but they make it so awkward and just you feel out of touch, like they don't know what they're talking about. They act so nervous and relax a little bit. Be like Mosier.
Yeah. To be a color commentator or to be a play-by-play person, whether it's radio or TV or something like that, that takes some skill. So props to those people who do it really, really well. I think Avs fans are
you're blessed.
They're blessed with Mark Mosher doing the altitude broadcast play-by-play and then having Connor McGahey on the radio. You've got two of the best in the business doing it for the Colorado Avalanche. So count your blessings that they're still with us and they love being here. So
we could replace Riker. I'd be okay with it.
Riker's a good color analyst. He's learning the ropes. He's getting a little bit better going from going from the intermission show to actually doing color analyst work during the game. It's a huge step, and it's tough filling those shoes. after losing
After losing Peter the Great.
Yeah, after losing Peter, that was this. Yeah, Graham's right. They made a point the entire night of how to say Annanen properly, and then having Bednar, he's like, "Oh, some coaches get it wrong." I'm like, so he says a Noonan. I said a Noonan the first time I saw it.
I said a Noonan for the longest time.
I think we all said a Noonan because that's the way it appears to us. But when you got to go to the player at some point, like, hey man, we've been saying a Noonan. Is that correct, or is there a different way you want us to say it, or what? So yeah, Eustace Annanen.
Well, it's kind of like back in the day when Taves first came around. Like when Jonathan Taves came to the league, people called him Jonathan Toes.
Jonathan Toes. Or the NFL's dispute. Is it Kels or Kelsey? We're not quite sure. Hell, even their own dad's like, I don't know. I just got tired of people telling me it was wrong.
No, the one that kind of made me laugh
tired of correcting people. He's like, whatever, fine, Kelsey, go for it. I don't care.
I like the old one from the NHL where everyone kept messing up Jonathan Oduya's name.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
Oh, do you? Do you? Do you?
Oh yeah.
Demarius
Thomas.
Demarius Thomas.
There's literally an A in there, my friend. Please. But yeah. So one last thing, the Avs have gone 0 for 6 in the last 2 games on the power play. The top unit features who it's going to feature. You got Makar, McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen. I've seen Jonathan Drouin out there getting some playoff time and whatnot. I was watching the Avs in their with their second unit out there, which doesn't get a ton of time because usually they let the first line skate a bunch. But you had Gerard, Taves, and Byram, all three being defensemen and offensive-minded defensemen out there at the same time. It just threw me off just a little bit because it's not.
Bednar knows what he's doing, and that's like it's. I like the move. Bedsy knows what he's doing. Like I like the move. It kind of gives that defensive mind. So no matter what, even if you have it on the PK, that just adds more defensive mind. On the power play, it's better because you can hold the puck on the blue line a lot cleaner. True. You can actually tackle the puck really well because you always have a defenseman on the blue line.
Well, it's not only that. The Avs utilize their blue line a lot more and rotating players while on the power play, just creating some traffic in the zone. So I didn't look at it that way. So it does make sense from that perspective. The perspective I kind of wanted to look at was you don't necessarily have, while you have that transition going on the outside during the power play, when you have a little extra room with one less player on the ice, what you lack in is having 2 or 3 players crowd the goalie and take away his vision in that situation. The Avs kind of tend to stick to the outside away from the goalie. With Nichushkin there, Nichushkin's always in front of the net. That's where his goals come from, his tip-ins and deflections and whatnot. So, but if you're going to have those 3 skaters on the ice, who else is on the ice with him when you have the man advantage? It's filling that role. That's taking away the goalie's eyes.
Well, I mean, now with having Parise, he's a good fill for that. He's a big body. He likes to get in front of the net. So that's a big in front of the net presence that we picked up with Parise.
Yeah, I'd like to see Parise get a little bit of power play time. Especially with that second unit, if possible, just to see what he can do. And ignite some of that magic he had when he was with the Devils way back when.
Way back when.
Way back when. The dude's 39. He got some age on him, man.
Yeah, but he's also got experience behind him.
Very true. He's got tons of experience with him, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens right there. But
and like we don't really have power play issues ultimately because if you look at it, we're ninth on the power play percentage, and then we're also ninth on the penalty kill percentage with 82.6 penalty kill percentage and 25% for power play percentage.
I say Parise. That's what I say.
Crazy.
That's what it is. Asking for you. You say it however you want to say it. Parise. It works both ways.
He's pronounced it both ways.
Yeah.
The man himself has pronounced it both ways.
This is another one of those Kelsey type moments. You know, they're just like he's been in the league so long. He's like, I've heard it like 15 different ways.
I'm just gonna call you Travis. I'm gonna call you Jason. We're done.
Trav, Jason, Trav, Batman, whatever you want to call them.
I look at those two, and honestly, I think of Jay and Silent Bob.
Oh, for sure. The energy's there between the two of them. Like you could totally freaking see it, man. They both got that energy about them, so we'll definitely see what happens right there. We are at the end of the show, so we're gonna dive away from the Avalanche topic real quick because I do want to interact with other people who join the show and check things out and everything else like that. But little off track, my guys. But do the Denver Broncos take a quarterback in the draft? Me, yes, they groove him.
100%.
Groom him, Peyton's way.
100%. We take a quarterback in the draft.
You do have some quarterbacks that didn't perform all that well at the Senior Bowl.
The question is, do we trade up to get Caleb Williams?
God, no. No.
I agree.
The Commanders have already made it clear their intention as far as the quarterback goes with the hiring of Cliff Kingsbury as their offensive coordinator, former USC guy. Yep. So I think Caleb Williams will be a Washington Commander unless somebody does something completely freaking stupid.
Agreed. Stupid.
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 Yeah. You know, it's looking more and more like Justin Fields is going to stay in Chicago, and the Bears are going to use that top pick as either like a massive trade chip with somebody and fleece somebody else again. Might be the Denver Broncos. Who knows?
Yeah, don't fleece us again.
I don't think they're going to fleece us like they did the Carolina Panthers there. DJ Moore and this, that, and the other. Sure, we'll take that. But I see Justin Fields staying in Chicago right now. He's not terrible. They just need to find an offensive coordinator that's willing to work with Justin Fields. Washington's made their move. Patriots might be looking at getting a quarterback of some sort. So it all depends on what happens. But I really feel the Broncos could address the quarterback room in drafting somebody. I mean, you've got a wide selection of quarterbacks, but they might have to move up in order to get one.
Yeah.
It's going to be a quarterback.
Going to get taken before our pick even comes up. And we don't have much. We don't have much to give up to trade up for the simple fact that we don't have picks as it is.
No, but honestly, the Broncos. I'm so freaking hockey minded. The Broncos could move up, but I doubt it. I think they'll probably stick around and probably take the best offensive weapon they could find at that pick. This is a deep wide receiver class from what I've seen, and I'm pretty sure Matt or
we could use a new receiver.
So you might need another receiver to fill some gaps. KJ Hamler was signed to the Buffalo Bills future contract stuff after they got eliminated from the playoffs. So KJ Hamler found a new home. you need some offensive weapons for whoever's going to be back there, whether it's Russell Wilson this upcoming season or Stidham or hell, whoever else. Bring in Zappy. I'm kidding. I don't know. Maybe we'll see what happens. But there's some stuff out there, so we'll see how it goes.
It could happen.
Anything could happen. You can have it your way. All right. Well, that's going to do it for our show this evening, everybody. Jenna wasn't able to join us. She's got some stuff going on, but we should see her back next week. You'll at least get one of us every week or so. So we'll get it all figured out somehow. But if you are looking to join the show, become part of the Colorado Sports Connection crew and talk some Avs hockey with us. We're always looking for other people to join us on Blizzard Warning to talk Avalanche hockey. We are all fans in some shape or form or another. We all love our Avs, and we love talking and just giving our thoughts on the current state of the Avalanche on a week-to-week basis. That's all we're here to do. Have some fun, talk some hockey, and just shoot the shit. What else are you going to do on a Wednesday night, especially when the Avs aren't playing?
No shit, right?
So we got some score updates for everybody. The Tampa Bay Lightning are losing 2-1 to the New York Rangers. Third period there, 13 minutes to go. That's on TNT or HBO Max if you want to join and watch that. The Maple Leafs are doing their job right now against the Dallas Stars, as is 3-2. 19 minutes left in the third period right there. So Leafs, keep doing your job. We want
the scores that are going on.
And then the Wild and Blackhawks kick off at 9:30. I haven't even looked at our scores for our fantasy league as Kyzer and I are playing
right now. You're killing me right now.
Killing him. You're killing me, Smalls.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Yeah, I've currently Jesus, this thing is so outdated. Scoreboard. Yeah, the scoreboard's being weird right now. I don't know what's going on with that, but on my end, it's being weird. It shows 5.0 to 0.5. Russ for Josh Allen. Yeah, that's not happening, Graham.
Actually, that's right now. That's correct for today.
For today's scores, the overall week scores, I think I've got like a 15, 16 point lead.
You got 43 points, and I got 27.5.
Oh, damn. I'm crushing it. Yeah. All right.
I said, you're killing me.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's show, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the comments and the love and everything. If you haven't yet, tell your friends. Invite them over. Let's all sit and talk some Avs hockey and trash some of the other teams. Boys. Always happy to do so. But for Kyzer Rodell, I'm Scott Cole. Thanks for joining us here on Blizzard Warning.